if aliens ever came to Earth and I needed to show them one movie.
Just this one.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick. I'm a director living in Taiwan.
Hi everybody, I'm Luke. I'm a cinematographer living in Taiwan, Taipei.
So we're introducing some of the great films of Taiwan cinema, and today we're talking about my favorite Taiwanese movie, Yi, directed by Edward Yang. Edward Yang.
Yang De-chang, in Chinese, Yang De-chang.
Okay. So there's an interesting idea about the name of the film, Yi.
Right.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, in Chinese character, we take two in two ones, right? So we we draw a line representing one, and we draw two lines representing two. Which means it's kind of a metaphor of in relationship we are kind of two, right? But still we are separate.
Ah, okay.
In two, we are still both one. So it's a. People say it's just kind of metaphor about we always lonely. No matter you are in a good family or a good relationship, you're still yourself.
Ah,
so it's kind of struggle we need to find our whole life.
Ah, very interesting.
So one and the two is kind of representing this kind of thinking.
Ah, wow, that makes a lot of sense because so the plot of the film is that you're following a family, and all the different members of the family, we follow all their stories, and they all it's over the course of a summer, and they all have this lonely parts of their life. In every character, there's something missing, or something they want, or something they need.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And they do different things and try different ways to try and get what they need. This time when I watched it, struck me just how sad and lonely. It's the second time I've seen it, and I started crying like 30 minutes into the movie.
Really? Wow,
yeah.
Okay.
There's
What you mean you growing up?
Yeah.
You kind of getting loneliness in your life. No matter how close you guys are, you still there's some secret or some story you never sharing with someone you close into.
Yeah, I think it's the message, or kind of the thing that he is trying to convey in the film, is that the idea of being a human is that you will not be satisfied. It's impossible. There's always something
this our
missing.
Nature.
Yeah. So I was thinking to myself when I was watching this movie is so good, and it's showed in a way that is so normal. Like nothing really weird happens.
Yeah,
it's anything that could happen to you or me. But it's so touching that I was thinking when I was watching this movie, if aliens ever came to Earth and I needed to show them one movie,
just this one, right?
Yeah, if I had to pick one movie to show them and be like, oh, this is what it's like to be a human, I would show them this movie because I think it really explains really well what it's like to be a person.
Yeah. How does it feel to be as a person?
Yeah. So I think that's the kind of the mastery of the screenplay. But I think in the directing too, he does a lot of really amazing things, and it's the reason that it's my favorite film of Taiwanese cinema.
Share
I mean, the most obvious thing that I think most people will notice when they watch it is that a lot of the movie is filmed in one-take scenes.
Yeah.
So, which is something that there's another person who did a video essay about it, about how a lot of people shoot one-take things, and it's kind of like this cool style thing where you're following someone down a hallway.
Yeah, cool camera movement.
Yeah, like 1917 or something like that. Yeah. But the way he does it is you almost don't even notice it. He just kind of sets the camera there very far away from everyone.
Yeah. And
you watch this scene play out. And as I was watching it this time, I noticed he never cuts unless he's changing to a new location. And there's a couple exceptions where he'll cut and show you the opposite side of the room, but that's it. He'll never cut within a location. So you see a location, and that's that. He picks his frame, that's his frame, and that's what it is. And I was thinking, wow, this guy has guts.
risk taker, right?
Yeah, because you have to be very confident in your frame and how you stage that scene.
Yeah.
And everything that's gonna happen, you have to know, like, okay, this is it. This is
and
how it's
also,
gonna be.
do you think like you don't really look very clear in their movement, their perform, right? It kind of creates a little bit space of the imagination in your brain that you can kind of fill in your own imagination.
Yeah, well, and I think it definitely contributes to the atmosphere of loneliness that he's trying to create. And it also creates this really interesting kind of realism. The distance between him and the person, it's kind of like this, the way that if you're walking down the street and you see someone kind of over there, that's kind of the amount of distance you would be from somebody, is the amount of distance that we are from a character. So it really is like, okay, I'm standing here watching over there a stranger's life.
Yeah.
It's very, very...
And also, it's very authentic. Like, this is how you look things. Not as usually we used to be very close, like in the cinema. We have different camera angles that increase those a lot of feeling of the character. But in the fact is, as a human, we didn't look like you. In this kind of way, right?
And
so
definitely. And there's a great line that the kid, the child in the family says, Yang Yang, he has a line in the movie because he is like, I think Yang Yang is the representation of the director.
Right.
He says, I guess we can never really know the whole truth.
No.
And the dad's like, why? And he says, because we can't see behind us. We can only see what's in front of us.
One side of you.
So it's very intentional, I think, that when he's saying, like, what you see in the frame is the only thing that we can know. And he's trying to make it wide, so he's trying to give you as much space to see as you can, but you'll never be able to see
outside the frame. Yeah. The movie is still in the frame. So it's also a philosophy question. And as you watch this movie, you can kind of, so I know there's something still I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see in life, in the movies. So kind of explain a whole lot of your perception
of the world, kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, he even has other characters talk about, like, well, why should we watch a movie? The one character saying, I like comedies, I like things that are crazy and unrealistic, and the other character is like, well, I think we should watch movies that are representations of life. And she's like, well, why should we watch a movie that's a representation of life? Why don't I can just go out and live my life? And he says, well, no, because sometimes we don't know how to live our life. Like, we can't live every life, so we need to see other people's lives in order to understand all the different ways you can live. Do you want to talk a little bit about, as a cinematographer, how you feel about the cinematography of the movie?
Well, for me, I don't know how the Edwards cinematographer feel, but definitely the director himself has his own mind, right? He definitely know how to do it, and he will ask the cameraman to do what he wanted to do, right? Just place the camera over there and take the record button and just leave it.
But there's a lot, but you have to think though, there's a lot of work for a cinematographer to do in this, almost more work than if you're, well, not more, but it's a different kind of work, because you need to make sure that there's very wide spaces are all lit exactly as you want to be lit. You know, he does do movements sometimes. He'll pan from like this side of the room to that side of the room. So, you know, you have to light a lot of space, and you have to, and you know, every frame is perfect. You know,
it's well designed.
Yeah.
So there's no waste in space.
He films certain things where I think, like, how does this look interesting? It doesn't make sense. There's a shot where there's a kid. He's watching the kid. Yang Yang is watching a girl that he kind of likes swimming, and he's standing, just like in this swimming pool. I mean, if you've ever been to Taiwan, like it's not the most beautiful city in the world, but Taipei, I mean, but he films it in such a beautiful way. He's like standing in this dirty, dingy swimming pool, and he's got this kid standing next to a water cooler, and the water cooler is, I imagine the director did this on purpose, or the cinematographer did, where they cleaned the water cooler so it's super, super clean, and it's reflecting the wall next to it. And you can see these lines, and it just makes it so much more interesting.
More romantic.
And so little things like this that he does to make every frame just perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's what's great. I mean, that's how you know a director is good, is that when you can start to kind of tell, like, all these details that he's paying attention to. There's another scene where a guy is holding a photo of people that have just been married, and then he stops to talk to somebody. And he puts the photo down. He puts the photo in the place it's supposed to be, but he puts it there upside down. You know, and it looks like the way they do it.
Showing the characters. So
yeah, and it looks like a mistake, but it's also mirroring that these two people don't have a good relationship.
No,
so it's really cool.
Yeah. By the way, Edward Young was engineering. Do you know that?
That makes a lot of sense.
He was a computer engineer. He used to live in the United States as a computer engineer.
Makes a lot of sense.
In the middle of his life, he decided to go back to Taiwan to make films because he didn't lack of money. I mean, he kind of have some money in his pocket, you know. So he wanted wanted to do things he wanted. He's so romantic in some way in his life.
He needs to express himself.
Yeah.
Well,
so interesting person.
I'm glad he did, because it's one of the best movies ever made, I think.
Thank you for kind of give us this Taiwanese director, right? So we as a Taiwanese, we feel very lucky to hearing you guys. Can love it.
Yeah, I would recommend it to anybody who loves film, and I think a lot of people in the United States haven't heard of this movie, so definitely go watch EE. Don't be afraid of the runtime, 2 hours and 30 minutes, I think it is. It's, it'll go by. It's an art film, so, if you like action and whatever and comedy and stuff, then, you might think it's a little boring, but if you enjoy artistic films, you love cinema, this is one of the best movies ever made.